I'm honest. All right, we've heard from our presenters. And now let's hear from you. Do you have questions? See.
Yeah, Jason, you talked about 468 tax deductions or people who don't lost revenue. How much is that in dollars?
No, you have to come up here.
Oh, okay.
For the tax exemptions?
Excuse me. So if you look at the overall value of the tax exemptions that the state has in terms of the 468, you're looking at about $7 billion.
So if there's $7 million in tax exemptions and the proposal to do away with corporate and state income taxes around $3 billion, you would only have to get rid of half the tax exemptions for it to be revenue neutral. Why are we talking about increasing sales tax?
Yeah. So good question. Some of the exemptions that are the most high dollar exemptions are those constitutional exemptions that we want to retain for food for home consumption, prescription drugs, residential utilities. You also have other exemptions in there that are actually federal exemptions that we're prohibited from touching. So there are a set of exemptions, even though they're calculated in the tax exemption budget book, that are off the table. Also wanted to just take a point to address Jim Richardson earlier when he was talking about the numbers will be wrong on the forecasting. Well, Jim sits on the revenue forecasting committee and his numbers are already wrong most of the time. And so, you know, that's why we're adjusting and making changes to the budget, because when he predicts revenue, he mentioned the volatility of the income taxes is what causes us to miss the mark. And he said that state sales tax or sales tax is a more stable base. So we feel this will enable Dr. Richardson and other folks who sit on the Revenue Estimating Commission to have a better shot at getting and projecting more accurate revenue. With respect to Jan Moeller, he knows that we have sat down and worked with him on an earned income tax credit. He's worked with us. Now, I understand he has a debate about raising revenue versus revenue neutrality. We believe that growing the economy is better by keeping a revenue neutral model rather than raising taxes on people. But in terms of the lower income, we're looking at not only exempting food for home consumption at the state level, but potentially exempting food for home consumption at the local level. And now when folks walk into the grocery store, potentially all of their food for home consumption would be exempt. And in terms of Representative Edwards' comments about, well, now we're only starting to look at being attractive or bringing businesses in, let me just clarify. Louisiana has done a good job of bringing businesses into the state. However, what I'm talking about in terms of competition, the Tax Foundation ranks our state as one of the worst, the most complicated tax structures out there. And if we enact this change to our tax structure, we now have a national ranking not of 32, but that of 4, which would make us competitive in terms of our ability to attract businesses and give Louisiana a much harder look when they want to invest their capital here in our state. Thank you.